There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's another weekend, and you're here with your buddies Dave and Tim on the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave. That guy is Tim at the Supernatural News Desk. I also want to take a quick second, Tim, if I could, before we launch into today's show, to thank all of our listeners worldwide for the amazing amount of emails, social media mentions, Facebook comments, Twitter comments, private messages, wishing me a very happy 51st birthday and happy anniversary for my wife and I, and birthdays for my daughters, and happy Thanksgiving. I love you all, and I would love to personally respond to every message, but I just cannot. It's impossible. But please know that it touches my heart and means more to me than you can possibly understand that you took time out of your day to recognize me and my family in those ways. So thank you very much, and I sincerely mean that from the bottom of my heart. This is a great time of year. My daughter's birthday is my birthday, Thanksgiving. It's just a wonderful time to be thankful to be alive. And I want you guys to know that I personally am thankful for listeners all around the world that have been with us and a part of this journey for 13 years. And hopefully we will be with you for another 13, enjoying the same kind of thing. So thank you all again for that continued love and express of affection for me. I appreciate it. All right, Tim, we've got supernatural news. We've got Parashare stories. And I want to remind people, you can give us a call and leave your personal encounters on our voicemail, 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977 is the number to call in and be a part of the show. Leave your voicemail. Tell us your personal paranormal encounter, and we'll feature it on an upcoming episode. Where are we going to begin today in the world of supernatural news, Tim?
With a Bigfoot story, Dave. A
Bigfoot, you say?
Well, I don't know about you, but we served one up at Thanksgiving dinner. So it was delicious.
A Bigfoot?
Yeah. It's
are they legal to hunt yet?
I don't know, but you sure can get a lot of Bigfoot for your money. I mean, as far as per person, I mean,
wow,
it stretches more than.
How are the drumsticks? That's what I want to know.
Delicious.
Delicious.
And quite, I know people hate this word, but moist, Dave. Moist.
Like a Duncan Hines cake.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Where are we off to, sir?
Bigfoot spotted? That's the question. Onlookers scream in terror, not like they'd scream for joy, as mysterious figure appears in a field. The shocking footage begins with the creature making his way through an open field just feet away from a crowd of Utes, Dave. A crowd of Utes.
The Utes?
The Utes, Dave. They were out there,
What were they there for?
Well, the Utes, they be hanging out, in a field.
Hanging out.
Yeah, they just be hanging out, listening to John Fogerty and those hip cats on the radio like they do. I think that's what the kids are listening to, aren't they?
I would not believe that for a heartbeat, but go ahead. Either. What's going on? Where's Bigfoot and what was seen?
Colin Haggerty, who filmed the moment, can be heard saying, "That's an effing Yeti." That's the name of my new band, by the way, Effing Yeti.
That's an effing Yeti, yo.
That's an effing Yeti, yo. I'm not kidding. We've seen it multiple times, he was quoted as saying. The mysterious figure begins making its way towards them as other members of the group scream in terror, like they're on a roller coaster even. It seems to be aware it is being watched, and at one point hides behind a bush out of view from the group. In an attempt to gain the supposed beast's attention, the group points a flashlight in its direction, because that's how you get Bigfoot's attention, as the animal casually strolls through the field. And moments later, it walks upright on two legs, just like previous sightings of the mythical creature. One person tries to palm it off as a prank, but the group falls silent as Colin responds, It's not a game. It's real life Bigfoot, yo. The footage was shot in Oregon earlier this year, and footage has since resurfaced on YouTube, and it sparked fierce debate online. One wrote, "It seems genuine, but you never know." The reactions were somewhat convincing. Well, I'm glad they've...
That was very well thought out and deeply expressed.
Yeah, I'm glad they've went over the acting in the video. Another added, "We finally have proof." Well, that's good, too. But others weren't as convinced, claiming it may be a hoax. Here's the quote. "I couldn't imagine a Bigfoot would be pimp walking through the fields in the wide open while kids film him," a third commented. Well, Bigfoot's got game, yo. Just saying. And a fourth agreed, writing, "If I were walking across the field and someone was shining a flashlight on me that long, I'd be like, 'Can I help you?' Stop shining your flashlight on me. That's the one thing I find off about the video." That's what this person went on to say. I find that comment actually pretty funny. Samuel Anderson, who also uploaded footage of the sighting online, claims he has seen the animal running and jumping around the same area in the past. Now, I would ask you why Bigfoot frolics, runs, and jumps. Dave, do you have any answers for why Bigfoot
Why wouldn't he?
frolics?
He's out. He's having fun. It's fresh air. It's beautiful weather. And if I had long, luxurious, flowing hair and stood at 8-9 feet tall, Tim, and was basically the apex predator in the planet, why would I not frolic? I would spend as much time sashaying as I could. I'd be known as Sashay Squatch, Tim.
Sashay Squatch.
It's true.
Well, here's the thing. The other thing is, too, is that Bigfoot likes to stay silent, doesn't he? So why would you be...
Not me, baby. I'd be like a Broadway tune singing Bigfoot hanging out in the wilderness. I'd be frolicking and be like, "Everything's coming up roses." That's what you'd hear from me if I was kind of the sassy Squatch out there, Tim.
But wouldn't it sound more like...
Maybe that's the way you sing, but I will be a classically trained vocalist Sasquatch, Tim.
I mean, we did have the one guy on the show who pretty much sung like Sasquatch. I think we get an idea of what it would sound like.
Well, that's his iteration of it, Tim. I would work hard to make sure that I could pull off the Axel Merman while I was out there.
Oh, yeah, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Live and let die.
If I heard that out in the woods, I'd run home faster than you could, on one leg even. And you'd never see me again. Just saying. Yeah. Just saying.
And next?
I can't think about this anymore. A number of witches rises dramatically across the U.S. as millennials reject Christianity. Evidently, Dave, being all witchy is where it's at.
I think we knew that. Stevie Nicks has been telling us that for decades, Tim.
See, you have been paying attention to her, Dave.
Only because she's sexy
right.
witchy. Yeah. And that part I dig. It's the whole Fleetwood Mac association, that evil underbelly of satanic worship that she's a part of, that I don't really dig.
You do love them, Dave. You really
do
love them.
That's just a rumor, Tim.
Witchcraft and other pagan religious practices increased in the U.S. over the past few decades, with millennials turning to astrology and tarot cards as they turn away from Christianity and other traditionally dominant Abrahamic religions. It turns out the Pope is hanging his head in shame right now. The number of witches and Americans practicing Wicca religious rituals, increased dramatically since the 1990s, with several recent studies indicating that there may be at least 1.5 million witches across the country. A Trinity College study conducted in 1990 estimated only about 8,000 Wiccans in the U.S. at that time, but the increase has been led by a rejection of mainstream Christianity among young Americans, as well as a rise in occultism. With 1.5 million potential practicing witches across the U.S., witchcraft has more followers than the 1.4 million mainline members of the Presbyterian Church. Oh, shame, Presbyterian Church, shame. Data collected by the Pew Research Center. And do you think when they have multiple pews, they go pew, pew? I'm just wondering. That's just my own curiosity. And Trinity College in Connecticut show witchcraft and pre-Christian traditions have been revitalized by young adults. This according to Quartz noted. I love it when minerals speak up. Millennials are seeking more freedom in their spirituality, and interest in astrology and tarot card readings have spiked in recent years. Millennials, celebrities, and even critics of the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, have embraced the witch aesthetic over the more repressive Christian beliefs. This according to Quartz. From 1990 to 2008, Trinity College in Connecticut ran 3 large detailed religion surveys, said Quartz. Those have shown that Wicca grew tremendously over this period. From an estimated 8,000 Wiccans in 1990, they found there were about 340,000 practitioners in 2008. The Trinity College data also revealed that there were 340,000 pagans in the country in 2008. The Pew Research Center, which has long pointed out the ongoing decline in U.S. Protestant and Catholic memberships, released a June survey which found adults under 40 are far less likely to say religion is very important in their lives. It makes sense that witchcraft and the occult would rise as society becomes increasingly postmodern. The rejection of Christianity has left a void that people, as inherently spiritual beings, will seek to fill, author Julie Roys said in a comment emailed to the Christian Post last month. Plus Wicca, which has effectively repackaged witchcraft for millennial consumption, Royce continued, no longer is witchcraft and paganism satanic and demonic. It's a pre-Christian tradition that promotes free thought and understanding of earth and nature. A recent spate of witchcraft-related stories has emerged over the past few months in the political sphere. During the congressional confirmation hearings of Judge Brett Kavanaugh last month, a Brooklyn bookstore placed a hex on the controversial conservative. That coven was joined by singer Lana Del Rey in declaring they had already placed several hexes on President Donald Trump. Despite the rise in
how's that working for everybody?
Yeah, seems to be working rather well, doesn't it? Despite the rise in practicing witches, the U.S. is still dominated by Christianity, which composes 70% of the country's religious population. The Pew Research Center noted that earlier this year, a little more than 22% of Americans list themselves as unaffiliated with any religion. Throughout history, a rise in fear has been matched with a rise in adherence to belief systems, whether that comes in the form of mainstream religion or other alternatives. So there you go.
So here's a very real question.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you've got witches around the world that were casting spells and curses towards Donald Trump.
Sure.
Okay. Because they obviously, these select people want him out of office, or they want him to fail or die or whatever they're sending his way.
Sure.
But isn't the legend and lore that what you send out returns to you threefold?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
If you're trying to hex somebody and you're trying to do negative to them, does that mean there's a chance that energy bouncing back may actually keep him in power longer as punishment for those trying to do it, and he won't actually feel the retribution until he's finally out of office?
Either that or you make him stronger and more powerful, or the things that he's actually doing in office happens.
I can feel the darkness flowing through you.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, right?
Or the things that he's trying to accomplish actually get done.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, and I'm not taking political sides on this, but I'm just curious. By cursing somebody, do you feel the reflection of it threefold back to you before the curse takes place? Or is it simultaneous? And, I don't know. I think there'd be a lot involved in that. That's why we just got to stop sending out anger and hatred, whether we agree or disagree across the board. We've just got to send prayers and love and light and intentions in hope for making changes that way. I think that's more powerful. I don't know. Maybe I've watched too many episodes of Dr. Phil, Tim, and I'm feeling all lovey, feely, touchy. But I just think that would be a little bit more effective. Maybe, I could be wrong.
Maybe, but on the other side of it now, you could. These witches could claim, and again, not taking political sides or anything, but these witches could claim that in throwing out that hex, maybe they were the ones who got the country to vote for all these different House members to turn over from the Republican side to the Democratic side in the recent elections. So you could say that.
I would have just thought that the unease and unhappiness around the country would have done that.
There you go with logic again, Dave.
I know.
Well,
Logic, where does it have its place?
Why are
Not
we
on this
switching
show, damn it.
positions here? What's the deal? No.
I don't know. I've lost all control and all thought. All right, Tim, where are we off to next?
I think the mystery's finally been solved, Dave. I think it's been solved.
It has?
It's been solved. We can call off the dogs.
Which mystery, Tim? I'm not sure.
Why the Titanic sank, Dave? I'm looking at the story and I figured it out.
You did?
Figured it out.
You figured out why Titanic's... Ladies and gentlemen, today on Beyond the Darkness, Tim Dennis does what no one has done before. He gives us the definitive answer on why the Titanic sunk. All right, Tim. We're all waiting with freshly bated breath.
One word, Dave. Vanity. Vanity, my friend.
Vanity, you say.
Yep.
Okay.
I have a story in front of me here that talks about the spooky story of the Titanic captain's mirror. Here's what happened, my friend. They're sailing along, and he's got his mirror in front of him, right? And he's going,
Right.
oh, look at that stunning little captain there. Hey, look at that. Hey. Huh?
Is that how he does it?
And he's not paying attention to the road, right?
Uh-huh. Right.
There's the iceberg right ahead. And
First of all, Tim, they weren't on a road. The Titanic was a large sailing vessel out in the ocean.
You know what I mean. So he's looking in the mirror and he's like, hey, look at that. Sail along. Catch me a mermaid.
What
I
exactly
will.
is the captain sporting there, Tim?
Huh?
What accent exactly was the captain sporting?
You get the idea. It's a reenactment, Dave. None of them are all that accurate.
I'm not getting the idea.
he's
That's
like,
kind of what I was asking.
So he's like,
Yeah.
going to catch me a mermaid, I am. Look at this. Huh?
Are you?
Look at this. Look at this.
Okay.
Strong jaw. Look at it. Hey. Look at strong jaw. Got a good looking nose. Hey. Huh? Look at, got a bit of an eyebrow out of place. There we go. Yep. They're going to love me under the sea. Hey. And then boom. Then boom, they hit the iceberg. That's how it happened, Dave.
You're saying that's it, huh?
That's it. Case closed. You can thank me later.
Where would you get this information from, Tim? I mean, I'm not questioning you. I understand that you are an authority on all things you think you're an authority on, but how exactly would you come to said conclusion?
The story. Let's
hear the story.
It's a spooky story of Titanic captain's mirror. It says so right here. A mirror belonging to the captain of the ill-fated liner, the Titanic, is expected to fetch thousands when it goes up for auction in, it says Lichfield. Is it Lichfield or Litchfield? I'd say Lichfield.
I think it's Licht, Licht, right? It's German. Lichfield.
Lichfield?
I don't know. I could be wrong. I think it is. I think it's Lichfield.
It sounds like I spit my teeth out. Captain Edward John Smith from Stoke-on-Trent, I know how to pronounce that, went down with a ship. It sounds painful. After the gigantic vessel was hit by an iceberg during its maiden voyage shortly before midnight on April 14th, 1912. The silver-framed easel mirror, which sat on Captain Smith's dressing table at home, but he brought it with on the ship, I bet, features in Richard Winterton's Auctioneer's Fine and Decorative Art Sale at the Lichfield Auction Center on December 12th. Included with the mirror is a small brown envelope containing a handwritten note explaining the item's provenance. It's pictured below. You can't see it, but I can read the note right here. It's in fine cursive. If I would have ever learned how to read. After his death, Captain Smith's housekeeper, Ethelwyn, was invited to choose any one item of his property as a keepsake and in lieu of wages, because he's dead and he can't pay her wages, Ethelwyn. The letter, which was penned by Ethelwyn's sister-in-law, Hilda, says that the housekeeper chose the silver mirror because it was made out of silver and she was hoping to melt that stuff down, you know. The note addressed to someone called Ida then chillingly adds, she, Ethelwyn, always spooked me when she said that at times she could still see Captain Smith's face in it on the anniversary of when the Titanic was sunk. See, Dave?
You're right, but he left it at home. I don't know if he was vainly using it aboard the Titanic.
I think he was. Mr. Winterton said the last time Captain Edward John Smith saw his own noble bearded visage before leaving home to take the helm of the Titanic was possibly in this very mirror. I think he brought a pocket mirror with him. I think he never really left the mirror, Dave. I think that's probably what killed him. And that was reflected in the silver mirror that he left at home. Even with one's feet firmly on land and in the sunshine of a clear afternoon, there is something otherworldly about seeing your own reflection in such an object. Captain Smith must have surveyed his own image in this mirror countless times, and the legend that his face can still be seen in it on each anniversary of the Titanic sinking is as compelling as it is chilling. Whoever buys this in December will have it in good time to test that legend for themselves on the 107th anniversary next April. The bargain hunt and Dickinson's Real Deal star added, interest in the Titanic is as strong as ever. This mirror could fetch well in excess of 10,000 pounds at auction. More than 1,500 people were lost when the Titanic sank in the Atlantic Ocean, less than 3 hours after it was struck by the iceberg. A statue of Smith was unveiled in Lichfield's Beacon Park in July 1914. The cathedral city was chosen as the location due to that city's status as the center of Staffordshire's diocese. The plaque on the memorial statue commemorates Smith's great heart, brave life, and heroic death, added in quotes, "Be British." What else would he be, Dave? I mean, would you just switch to being French? I don't know. A reference to Smith's stiff upper lip in the face of impossible adversity and what were widely believed to be yet unsubstantiated as his final words. The mirror is one of many impressive lots in Richard Winterton's Auctioneer's Fine and Decorative Arts Sale on December 12th, dubbed A Sale in a Generation. The event at the auction center, Wood End Lane, Fradley Park, will feature a stunning collection of jewelry, gemstones, antique silver, pictures, and furniture. Viewing is on Saturday, December 8th from 9:30 a.m. to noon, Tuesday, December 11th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on the day of sale from 8:30 a.m. The auction starts at noon. Richard Winterton Auctioneers carries out free general valuations every Tuesday from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., so please bring in your comic book collection to see what they say about it. Just saying.
Yeah. That's an option. All right, where are we off to next?
I may bring my comics in. Just saying. We move on. This story, last week we talked about the JFK assassination. Yes. This story having to do with JFK, and asked the question, was JFK set to expose alien life, and was the president silenced for uncovering the truth? John F. Kennedy was assassinated after finding out top U.S. officials had been in contact with alien life. This, according to a new sensational conspiracy. This week marks 55 years since JFK was fatally shot on a presidential motorcade through Dealey Plaza in Dallas. But controversies have surrounded his death ever since, with claims ranging from assassin Lee Harvey Oswald not acting alone to a mafia gangster ordering the hit. There's a greater conspiracy and another conspiracy, though, this one claiming that the late president had uncovered proof his top officials had been in contact with extraterrestrials and was about to reveal it to the world before he was shot. Experts claim to have discovered a letter from the Majestic 12, a secret government committee formed in 1947, which were responsible for investigating the possibility of alien life here on Earth. The Majestic 12 document, is authentic, it says, if the Majestic 12 document is authentic, they suggest the government were aware of and in contact with extraterrestrial beings. The letter, which was reportedly recovered from a fireplace, was from the director of the CIA, Allen Dulles, under Kennedy's presidency. Dulles' alleged letter claims Lancer, which was a code name for the president at the time, made inquiries regarding the CIA's activities in regards to aliens, an act in which the organization could not allow. Robert M. Wood, a retired aerospace manager, told the History Channel's Ancient Aliens series, the inference of the Scorch memo is that JFK keeps doing what he's doing, and he may be a problem, or maybe is a problem. In the letter, Dulles identifies a number of actions which that could be taken. That's an odd sentence. One of which implies that if Washington does spot asking questions, it should be wet. I think the meaning "it should be wet," Wood recalls, was a phrase used by Soviet spies as a code word for assassination. Lawyer Douglas Caddy also claims JFK was assassinated in order to protect the CIA's top secret information in relation to alien life. Caddy was apparently close friends with E. Howard Hunt, an officer in the CIA during Kennedy's presidency who was caught up in Nixon's infamous Watergate scandal several years later. Looking back at the last encounter with Hunt in 1975, Douglas Caddy said, "Out of my own curiosity, I said to him, 'Howard, why was John Kennedy assassinated?' To which Hunt reportedly replied, 'John Kennedy was assassinated because he was about to give our most vital secret to the Soviet Union.' When asked what this secret was, Hunt replied, 'The alien presence.' Theories of an alien cover-up are still a big issue today, with unexplained footage from the SpaceX live feed leading many to think the existence of aliens is being hidden from us. Others claim JFK was murdered by the mafia after double-crossing a boss known as the Godfather."
Well, I want to just tell you there'll be no giving of information. There will be no passing of alien probes. This will stay amongst the family, Tim.
This decided, of course, over a spaghetti dinner in a small borough in New York.
I need some more gravy, Tim. More gravy.
Speaking of gravy, you asked for it, you got it. A very special episode of Beyond the Darkness tomorrow. So you're still trying to get through that food coma? Well, Dave and Tim, your buddies here, are going to deliver up another heaping helping of pure entertainment value. You can listen to Theater of the Mind cornucopia of creepy fun all day tomorrow. We're going to have a special episode up. You've been asking us for ways to hear the Theater of the Minds. We have picked some of the favorites that you guys have requested over and over again. We put them into one comprehensive episode we're going to release tomorrow so you can sit down and enjoy. This is a great one to take with you on the road, listen to while you're driving to and from family members' houses, on your way to work, sitting in the bathroom. We've got these perfect stories all put together for you in one full episode. So that's tomorrow. It's just a little holiday gift from your buddies here at Beyond the Darkness. All right, Tim, how many more stories do we have?
Did you say sitting in the bathroom?
Sure. And come on, you're sitting in the bathroom. You can flip through a magazine. You could go through a book. But let's face it, none of us do that. We're all sitting on our phone anyway. Why not just hit play, Tim? Because if there's a place in your life you want the shit scared out of you, it's in the bathroom.
That's what
listening
I thought.
To Theater of the Mind. So go check it out. That's tomorrow's episode. All right. How many more news stories do we have?
Just one.
Just one. One more news story, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, Tim Dennis and the final supernatural news story for today.
Well, a house in a haunted village has gone up for sale, Dave, and I think we're in the market. A beautiful house has gone up for sale in Pluckley, which is a village located in Kent, England. At first glance, it looks like an incredible opportunity for potential buyers, as there is a 4-bedroom home as well as several outbuildings in the property. Oh, it's quite quaint. And it's on sale for less than $1 million. It's $975,000, Dave. It's quite quaint.
I hope that they have another one that you could purchase next to me so that we can have matching quaint homes in a village.
The property, which they call Rose Farm, includes gardens, 2 greenhouses, a pond, and a beautiful veranda that overlooks the incredible countryside scenery. Oh, it's more than quaint. It's lush. It's wonderful. In addition to the main house, there's also a holiday cottage, a studio, and a framing shed that can be used for other purposes. It sounds downright wonderful. And Pluckley has a general store, post office, a school, and a church for local residents, so it would be the perfect place for someone wanting to live a quiet life in a small village. Oh, it's wonderful. But you might not want to be so quick to write that $1 million check, as there's a small, tiny little catch.
What?
Yeah, a little bit.
What?
Yeah,
okay.
A little bit. Whoever decides to buy this gorgeous property will be living in the most haunted village in England. Yay! In fact, even the Guinness Book of World Records named Pluckley the most haunted village in the country in 1989. So you got that going for you. A little bit. There are several ghosts living in Pluckley, with the most famous of them being the Red Lady. That's her name. Don't wear it out. Her watched too much Pee-wee's Playhouse yesterday.
Lady in red is dancing with me. Chick-chicka.
Chick-chicka? Her apparition appears...
One of my Sasquatchy ways again, to my Broadway singing Sasquatch voice.
Broadway singing Sasquatch would be a perfect play to bring it down. Starring the Jax Lynx Sasquatch on Broadway.
Why not?
Be perfect. Her apparition appears as a dark-haired woman wearing a bright red gown and is said to roam the St. Nicholas Church's graveyard looking for the unmarked grave of her child. Oh, that's sad. Other strange events that have happened at the church include the sound of knocking at night, and I think Corey Hart had that song that came out, and seeing a flickering light. I
hear my knocking at night. Is that the song you're referring to?
Yes, it is, yeah. And seeing a flickering
light. No, those sunglasses at night. Not even close.
Sorry,
no,
okay.
You wanted to wear sunglasses at night.
Oh, but you went and sang it anyways, didn't you?
I did, because I picked up the vibe you were laying down. I was just showing you as a Broadway singing Sasquatch, Tim. I'll be able to go on demand.
I see that, yeah. Some believe that the flickering light comes from Lady Daring, who was buried in 3 lead coffins. Lead coffins, same thing. Lead coffins. She was buried in 3
good old-fashioned lead coffins.
She was buried in 3 lead coffins, Dave.
Hey, Tim, I got to do this here test, and I need a number 2 lead pencil. Have you got one handy?
I do, as a matter of fact. Well, you don't want to be in the behind coffins because they smell. So there you go.
So you want to be in the lead coffin?
You want to be in the lead coffin.
She was put in 3 lead coffins. One of them has to be the rear of the lead.
I'm in a turkey coma still. Leave me alone. There is also the haunted Daring Woods. Hope I got that one right. That has been nicknamed the Screaming Woods because plenty of people have gone out there and had a good time. Because of the terrifying screams often heard coming from the tormented spirits of many men and women who lost their way among the trees and ultimately died there. Well, that's not a good way to go. There are countless other sightings within the village. One common sighting is a highwayman who was killed and then pinned to a tree with a sword. That's not a good way to go either. Another haunted location is the Blacksmith's Arms, which is said to have 3 spirits living there, a coachman, a cavalier, and a tutor maid. They all walked into a bar, Dave, and then I don't know. There's even a haunted bar in the village. I didn't know that was coming. The Black Horse Pub is said to be home to several ghosts who are known to hide women's purses. Oh, they're thieves. Move things on the bar, and sometimes patrons can hear screams coming from an unseen entity. Those are just a few examples of the numerous ghosts that inhabit the tiny village of Pluckley. In fact, with a population of just over 1,000 people in the village, along with the belief that there are between 12 and 16 ghosts there, there's an average of 1 ghost for less than the 100 living people that are there. While it may seem like a dream come true living in a quiet village on a breathtaking property, there's also the nightmare of sharing your space with several ghosts.
Put me down. I'll take it.
You got it?
I'll buy it.
All right.
With all the extra big-ass radio money we got laying around, Tim, the tens of dollars we make on a weekly basis, I feel I should be able to pay off that house by the year 2273.
Not only that, but you get 3 lead coffins with it, Dave. So
there we go. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some of your stories to share next on Parashare.
Beyond the darkness.
Hello, welcome back to the show. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, along with me, Tim Dennis. And it's time now for Parashare, Tim.
Okay.
I want to remind people you can always call in our Voices from Beyond voicemail and leave us a story, 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. It's just that simple. Go do it right now. What are you waiting for? Tell us your paranormal stories. Funny, scary, weird, strange, unusual, terrifying, heartwarming, whatever you've got, we want to hear them. 651-300-4977. Or you can email them in to me at dave@darknessradio.com, and we'll read them in an upcoming episode. We've got some stories pulled here, Tim, but before we begin, I've got to tell you a story here.
Sure.
So last Tuesday, you and I are doing our true crime program.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. You know that when I get in that mindset, right, I'm already kind of icked out and skeeved by the outdoors anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, now I see like a criminal behind every corner. I see shady shenanigans. You see a beautiful Lake Placid. I see a body dumping ground, right? I mean, my life is kind of turned upside down from true crime.
Uh-huh.
So we record True Crime Tuesday. That night, I'm on the air with Midnight in the Desert, right? Mm-hmm. I'm in my home studio. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the midst of doing a show. And we've been having some weird stuff happen in our house. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
And I've been trying to, I'll tell you what, I'm getting to a weird place because I've tried everything I've ever done before and it doesn't seem to be working. So our youngest boy, Max and Damien, they share a bedroom up here on the top floor.
Okay.
And neither boy will sleep in there because on their own, they've seen things and they've heard things. Max has complained of laughing coming from underneath his bed. Okay. Well, there's an air vent. His brothers and sisters are downstairs. If they're talking or giggling, that's probably what he's hearing. That's my initial thought, right?
Sure. Yeah.
However, I've also walked by his room with the door shut and no one home because I'm the only one home, and I've heard laughing or noises coming from inside the room.
Okay.
So another example, he tells me a couple weeks ago, I don't want to sleep in here, Dave. I don't want to sleep in here. And I said, why not, Max? And he goes, because there's something in my closet. I go, here. And I go and I shut the closet door. And I go, there's nothing in your closet, Max. And I first wave my arm inside the closet. It's a very small closet, right? Mm-hmm. Wave my arm inside the closet. There's nothing in here, Max. You're fine. And I shut the closet door. He goes, okay. I go, let's go brush our teeth. We walk out to brush our teeth. We come back and the closet door is wide open. And it's not one of those spring-loaded doors.
Right.
You have to physically pull it open. So, all right, you can sleep out on the couch. So he and Damien, my other son, just don't want anything to do with it.
Okay.
Right? They want nothing to do with the room. And I've tried blessing in there. I've tried praise. I've tried praise. Hey, you're a handsome room. Look at you. What a cute room. Who's a big room? Yes, you are. That doesn't work either.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. But we've had some weird instances in this house happen at night. Noises, things that are unnerving. Well, so to give people, when you're wearing your headphones, Tim and I have very nice, expensive headphones. So they pretty much cancel out outside noises. Mm-hmm. You can really just hear what you're doing and talking, right?
Right.
However, I do have my microphone in front of me, which can pick up some outside noises. And I don't mean out of doors. I just mean, room noises and things coming from around you.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing Midnight in the Desert on Tuesday night, it's 12:45 a.m. here, Minnesota, right? Mm-hmm. And I begin hearing a series of blood-curdling screams. I mean, blood-curdling screams. And I turn, and my wife comes in to the studio, and she's like, "Are you hearing this?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I said, I tell her, we're sitting there, and all of a sudden we hear another really loud, and my mic is on at this point. I forgot I didn't mute it. And I go, "Oh my God, did you hear that?" And so the guest is like, "Huh?" I'm like, "I'm sorry." And I try to explain live on air what's going on. And so my wife does a cursory scan of the house because we had all the kids that night. Maybe it was somebody who was having a nightmare. But Tim, this sounded like somebody was being dragged to hell. The scream for help. And it was very clear, very clean scream for help. And I'm trying to figure out what it is. What could this possibly be? So my wife says, "There's nothing going on, Dave. There's nobody, none of the kids are awake. It's not," she said, "I was in the rooms. She could hear the screams and they were still taking place." So I go, "Well, it's obviously outside. Somebody's being attacked outside." I heard this scream no more than about 10 or 11 times.
Whoa,
right?
Okay.
And my heart's racing, and I'm trying to do a live TV show or a radio show. Part of me wants to just abandon my mic and run outside and play savior. The other part of me is I've got a job to do, and I'm afraid of outside. So, especially if there's a killer on the loose, Tim. I've seen enough horror movies to know it never works out for the hero.
Right.
Let alone the dumb, funny, fat hero, right? He's always the first guy to go.
Yep.
So we're baffled. My wife calls the cops. They send squad cars for scanning our area. I'm still not satisfied. Even though I haven't heard another thing for the next hour and 15 minutes, I call back after the show. And I just to give you an idea now, Tim. So this is what was actually recorded outside. So that you and the listeners can get a feel of what I was actually hearing outside. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
So we're hearing those screams for help. Now, mind you, it's coming from outside, so it's muffled through my windows, muffled through my headphones.
Okay.
The screams for help. I call the cops. The cop shows up. Very nice guy. Mm-hmm. Comes up the driveway. Mr. Schrader, thank you for calling and being so diligent. I said, listen, I'm a radio host. I do true crime. And he starts with this big smile on his face. And I said, this stuff gets in my head. I don't know how you guys do this every day. I said, but I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. But I'm just telling you how to do your job. You can't just drive by with spotlights. You got to get out of your car and walk because there's got to be blood streaks in the grass somewhere. Somebody was screaming for bloody murder and for their life. And he gives me a smile and he's like, you're not much of an outdoors guy, are you? Apparently you don't listen to the show. I go, no, not really. He goes, okay, I want you to do me a favor. I'll tell you, my partner and I are going to keep cruising the area just in case. And we sat out here for a half an hour after your initial report. He goes, I want you to go look up Fox mating calls. And I'm like, no. This was clearly humans screaming for help. He goes, I know it was, Mr. Schrader. Just do it. So I open up my phone and I start playing this audio, Tim.
Okay.
And it sounds like screaming.
Right.
This is screaming, Tim. Listen. I mean, it's blood-curdling, piercing through my windows. Through the veil of darkness. There's, help! Help! Right? I'm terrified, trying to do my job. It's foxes having sex, Tim. Foxes outdoors. Foxes outdoors having sex.
Oh.
And I listened, and sure enough, that's exactly what it sounded like. But it was just spaced out. It was like every 7 to 10 seconds, you would just hear this blood-curdling scream. And again, through the windows from outside, it sounds like, help! It sounds like, help! Help! Is what we're hearing.
They must be doing it right then.
Oh, my God. Tim, terrifying. Terrifying. Dude, I'm not kidding you. My heart raced. I wanted to puke. I was so stressed out because I really thought I was listening to one of my neighbors get murdered. And we do shows on this all the time. And you say to yourself, well, if I heard this, I'd jump right up. No, you wouldn't.
No.
You'd sit there transfixed and terrorized because it is so horrific sounding. I mean, not the foxes having sex, but the idea of somebody maybe being murdered.
Right.
So I flipped out on that, but I did the right thing. We immediately called the police.
Yeah,
and I did the right thing. I sent my wife to go examine. I sent my wife out. Tim, my birthday hadn't come around, and I've read too much. People die too close to their birthday. I'm not going to be the one to do that, Tim. So I'm going to let my wife go check it out. She's younger. She's spry, Tim. She can run faster than I can.
I see.
She's cute. She could probably talk Jason Voorhees out of butchering her. Me, Tim,
right.
I'm just a fat slab of meat waiting to be carved up by some hillbilly killer, Tim.
You're like the poor tenderloin of the serial killer world. Yeah,
I am, Tim. Mm-hmm. I'm the tender vittles.
Mm-hmm.
I just, so I sent my wife to check on the kids. And I would say she was inside. She was safe the entire time, Tim. Mm-hmm. So, and then I continued to call the cops. And then I will tell you, though, I had the bravado. I told the cops, I said, no. She goes, do you want me to send somebody over? I go, yes. I need to talk to them because I think I can direct them to where the sound came from. I know. I'm an audio guy. I know what I'm listening to. She's like, all right. She sends the cops back out here. I said, she goes, well, we'll have them come to the door. I go, no, I don't want you waking up my kids. I'll be waiting outside. Right? I didn't wait outside. I watched through the window of my door with the lights off behind me so that the killer couldn't see me watching.
Sure you did.
And as soon as it got pulled into the driveway and I was safe, I went out through the garage all bravado, not bravo.
Johnny Bravo?
Yeah. Hey, man, I heard some creepy screaming thing, man. But, yeah, Tim.
Huh.
I was unnerved, to say the least, which threw me back to another memory, which I've mentioned on the show years ago. At the time, I was living in Chicago. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a basement apartment with my girlfriend, Stacy, at the time, right? And Stacy and I are awakened in the middle of the night to what I can only describe as somebody brutally butchering a baby outside. I've never heard a sound like this in my life. I literally sounded like a baby screaming as it was being torn apart. And the two of us stood there paralyzed with fear because it was right outside our window. I mean, right outside. So finally, I'm like, I've got to see what's going on. And we flip open the curtains and it's two cats having sex. Tim.
Now, would you not have, in that moment when you heard that, gone, am I not listening to a wild animal right now?
No, Tim, I'm not. I don't know if we've met, but I don't have. I'm not much of an outdoors guy, and I don't know the sound of these creatures, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, whatever they're doing doesn't sound pleasurable. I'm not.
Well,
I don't. Hold on, I've got audio here. I don't know if this is. This is thankfully somebody put. There is audio.
Okay.
On the YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to hear the kind of horrific sounds I've heard. This is truly kiddie porn you're listening to, Tim.
Okay.
Now that's not the horrific stuff. Let me. No, I got nothing. I was hoping for the
screeching and the hollering and the.
Hang on, here we go.
Okay.
No, that's all cute and cuddly right there.
Yeah, I love
the foreplay.
Yeah. That just sounds like they got caught in a windstorm.
Yeah, that's it, Tim. What I heard was horrible. This was not, maybe because those videos were cats making love, Tim.
Yeah.
And what I heard was just angry. Late bar sex for these cats. So terrified the hell out of me and my girlfriend. But no, I don't know what outdoors sound like, Tim. And it didn't sound like, I mean, you heard the fox mating call. You were already predisposed to know that it was probably going to be some kind of animal because I'm a moron. But honestly, if you were sitting in your home at night and you started hearing what sounds like a human woman screaming help, and you just aren't thinking, your mindset's not in fox mating time. Your mindset is, I just got done recording True Crime Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right? My mindset's doesn't go there, Tim. And this was blood-curdling screams from the out of doors. Oh. Yeah. So, all right. That's my story, Tim. I'm glad that you find humor in my pain. I was terrified.
A little bit.
I don't think it's funny, Tim. That was terrifying. Terrifying. You can't sleep with that kind of noise, Tim. You know, my heart rate was horrible all night.
Oh, I bet. It was probably.
My wife got me a Fitbit for my birthday.
Oh yeah,
so that I can tell how fit I am, Tim.
Okay.
And my goal of 10,000 steps is so far. Is shy only by 9,832 steps.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm moving through pretty.
You're getting there.
Maybe I should set my goal a little lower and try to hit 500 steps a day and then make my way up. I don't know, what does the average human walk in a day, Tim? I'm more fascinated by my sleep schedule. I have enjoyed my Fitbit for that. I know they're not an advertiser.
No.
I'm just giving you the heads up that I find it. I find it interesting.
No, it's
my wife's worried about me. She's trying to get me. She's trying to get me healthy. She wants me around longer.
I see.
Yeah. So I could send her out to look at who's killing people in the neighborhood.
Well, you might have.
Do you realize that just my laugh even just sounded like the cowardly lion there?
You might have used maybe 20 of those steps to go see what was going on.
No, Tim, I don't want to. I would be the fat guy falling down in the woods guy. I would be of no use to anybody. Tim, my kids need me. You need me, Tim.
I do, yeah. See, the look at it, the positive of all this. It's not that you're not doing 9,832 steps. It's that you've accomplished 100 in what is it, 50 some
I've
steps.
accomplished a lot in that 132 steps.
Exactly.
Although I learned, Tim, by accident, that with your Fitbit, simply by swinging your arm, you're logging steps. So you can cheat the system.
So you could just be.
So let me just, for those of you new Fitbit buyers, make sure you know which hand you wear it on, because if you use one hand more than the other.
Oh boy! Well, I think I know how you're accumulating steps.
I might get in 30, 40,000 steps a day at that rate, Tim. I'm just saying. Huh. You gotta understand how your technology works.
I see.
Tim.
Huh.
All right, Tim.
Okay.
Here's our first email.
All right.
Had an odd encounter last night that you two may find interesting. That's how it starts out. Doesn't even address you and I, Tim. Just you two.
Just you two. All right.
Had an odd encounter last night that you two may find interesting. This comes. Well, I won't say the name till the end in case he doesn't want me to say his name.
Sure, they're not trying to address Bono and the Edge.
Yeah. No.
Oh, all right.
I had an odd encounter last night that you too may find interesting. I don't know. I fell asleep on the couch, woke up at midnight, and needed to take Cy out. We went up about a half a block along the church. We're out there every night. However, I recall nothing but how unusually calm and quiet the city was. It was obviously dark and cold. Large snowflakes, oddly no traffic, and very few parked cars. I remember taking in the beautiful scene, but recall this eerie sensation, almost a deja vu-like sensation. All this time, Cy's loose on the retractable leash as I let him wander under the grassy boulevard. He keeps walking out into the street, which he never does, but not in an attempt to go anywhere. He seems to keep following scent trails from the grassy area out onto the street. I pull him in, and he follows the scent right out to the street again, over and over. He normally never leaves the curb, rather. It's just like there was some strong scent out in the street that he couldn't resist. Probably fox sexing.
Could be. Fox sexing.
Yeah.
I've seen that video.
Kitty loving. Out of nowhere, I hear this loud, joyous woman's laugh. I turn around, and there's a couple standing in the middle of Hennepin and 2nd Street intersection heading towards us.
Oh, my.
They were a half a block away, but lit well with the street light, and I could plainly see that they were dressed very nicely with long winter coats, very much of a traditional style of 1920s or earlier. She had on a traditional styled hat with a flower off to the side. I only looked at them briefly, but very much had a sense that they were dressed so traditionally. My impression was that they were in costume, perhaps came from a flapper-themed party or something. There are sidewalks everywhere, but they're walking in the street heading towards us. There are no parked cars on this side of the street or buildings to enter, so I assume they're heading our way for the sidewalk we were on to pass by on their way behind us. I can still hear her roaring laughter as I turn my attention to Cy. He oddly hasn't noticed them yet. But I know once he does, he'll be nervous and stop looking for a place to potty. I coax Cy out from behind a tree to avoid him seeing them. Just seconds after seeing this couple, I look back to see how close they are, and they're gone. Nowhere in sight. There was no place that they could have veered off to that quickly. No cars to get in, and I didn't see or hear any vehicles pick them up. I was not able to rationalize this experience. They just seemed to vanish. I felt odd, almost out of body-like. Cy still hadn't pottied, but I just wanted to get back inside. I pulled him along the sidewalk toward the front door. The entire time he keeps pulling and insisting on heading into the street, essentially towards where I saw this couple. I let him wander, thinking he may be trying to find a spot in the grass to go, but he keeps sniffing his way out to the street. So I forcibly drag him back inside. As I'm trying to rationalize this, I recall I saw and heard this couple for less than a minute. We were outside for about 10. This entire time, I don't think I saw a single car, which is very unusual. The entire experience was so quiet and calm enough that this woman's laugh cut through so loud and precisely. I have no idea what happened, but it was certainly odd, outside of my ability to rationalize. And this comes from Trevor. This is Trevor's friend. I remember Trevor sent this to me on social media, and I said, well, just send it over in an email. So Trevor did. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good little tale.
Yeah.
Of weirdness, high strangeness. Party on, Tim. Party on, Dave. So here's a fun little read for you. I'll do my best to incorporate all of the punuation that dang old spelling that the teacher lady was trying to learn me. I like that. Anyway, here comes the meat and potatoes, so get your napkins tucked in. So back sometime last year, there was a Parashare evening going on, and one of your listeners called in about a haunted board game, Kabbalah. If I remember correctly, this game supposedly was infested with bad juju and left a trail of bad luck in its wake. So while I was listening, I hopped on eBay and I found one. And like a sucker, coughed up the old cold Wisconsin cheddar to buy the stupid thing. I think it was over $100 or something ridiculous. Anyway, so when this thing arrived at my house, it was shipped very nicely. Whomever owned the game never played it, and it must have been hiding someplace in their basement or something. Everything was in mint condition. The owner even crafted a custom box for this thing and had it taped meticulously. This guy got a total A++++ feedback on eBay from me. The cool thing about the game is there's an all-seeing eye that follows you around and incorporates a ton of fringe elements. I didn't ever play it, but I did get it and set it all up and took some photos and stuff and put it back in the box and stored it in my garage for the past year. There's a good expenditure of $100, Tim. Since then, my job has transferred me from Michigan to Arizona, so I decided to schlep this game into the keep pile and didn't think much of it afterward. When my movers arrived, everything went fairly smoothly. Everything got packed into the truck nicely, and off it went, and for another 1,900 miles down to Arizona. Now, I guess at some point, my movers transferred all my goodies to another company, and this new company decided to hold all of my items hostage unless I paid them an exorbitant amount of cash. So I did the obvious thing and told them to go to hell. So the next day, they contact me again, and I agree to pay them a much less ransom to get my crap back. The movers only agreed to dump all my stuff in a nearby parking lot instead of delivering it to my apartment like we discussed and paid $3,000 for. So I figure I will just have to make it work. Speaking of work, it is around lunchtime, so I have to make this quick so that I can get back to my job. This person's a little bipolar, Tim. So I show up and retrieve my items from the parking lot. Among these items is the Kabbalah game. However, the custom cardboard box the seller crafted is totally destroyed. But the game is still perfect. No dents, tears, crusted corners. Perfect. At this point, I have to admit, Kabbalah was not at the top of my priority list, so I quickly tossed it into storage with the rest of my stuff and went about my afternoon. This was my second day on the job, and so all I had to do was play it cool. The next morning, I go to retrieve my items from the locked storage unit in the mid-rise apartment building. I notice that everything is in disarray. Everything I own has been sorted through, and most of it's stolen. Just when I thought this nightmare was over, it was just the beginning. After 30 seconds of shock set in, I surveyed the tiny closet and realized that somehow Kabbalah, in all of its newly exposed glory, still wasn't damaged and somehow made it to the top of the pile. This little room had been burglarized, so everything was totally strewn about, and I ended up finding even more of my belongings in the dumpster around the corner. The fact that this managed to survive is pretty impressive. Still, at this point, though, I haven't given it much thought and have a quick mental breakdown sobfest before the police arrive and do nothing at all. Since I am also an employee at the apartment community in which I live, and I go and check the security cameras. Just as a side note, I would advise that anyone who has ever been robbed or violated in any way, don't watch the footage. It's just too painful. So anyhow, I'm watching these people steal everything I own. I see one of them approach Kabbalah. The lady thief keeps looking at it but doesn't really touch it. Finally, after looking at it a few times, she picks it up to read the box and then places it very nicely on top of the pile as not to disturb it. Then continues tossing my goods around, much like I imagine a scorned lover might do. How very thoughtful. Anyway, I managed to track these people down that took my stuff, and they bring what they can back. At this point, I move all of my things from storage room to my new home, and within 10 minutes, of a Kabbalah being here, bad things are beginning to happen. I have an award for being a top salesperson in the state of Michigan that just fell over and cracked. My dog is going nuts and I'm about to lose my mind. So my first thought was to email you guys and see if you'd like this game. I'm willing to ship it at my cost. Just please take the damn thing. What next? Am I going to slip and fall out of a bathtub and lose an eye? I don't know how much worse things could get right now. Even as I type this, the email, I can somehow sense that Kabbalah knows. Just the feel of the room is creepy. So I'm going to go find someplace to shove this thing temporarily. But please, sweet sassafras and good gravy, take this damn thing out of my house. Well, I suppose that's all it for now. You may read my number on the air if you like. I want to get rid of this thing. It's just bad. Just ask your guidance or audience to keep their eggplant emoji photos to themselves, or at least try their best. Amanda, no, I'm not going to pass your phone number on. And I sure as hell don't want your stupid cursed projects and products. No, your life has fallen into horrible disrepair. It's all Kabbalah's fault. Send it to Tim
what?
At 314.
Huh?
What?
Huh?
I was just telling her where to send it.
No.
314.
No.
What?
No, I don't want it.
Well, why not, Tim?
I don't want my life to fall apart.
Tim, stop being so superstitious. What are you afraid of? Just send it to Tim Dennis at 314. What?
What? Christmas is coming. I'm sure some kid could use a gift.
That'd be a great gift for you, Tim.
No, not for me. I don't need gifts.
What?
I am more than blessed with what I've received from the show.
Maybe you could get it and gift it to someone, Tim.
No, I don't.
Anybody,
I don't need to.
Anybody that you could think of except me. Don't give it to me.
They could pass it on to somebody directly. Just drop it off at a Toys for Tots location. It's a fine unwrapped gift.
Toys for Tots, you're the worst human being that's ever lived on this planet.
You don't
Tim.
need to give it to me directly. Just Toys for Tots. They're always looking for stuff.
We want to welcome one of our brand new sponsors. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission free. They strive to make financial services that work for everyone, not just the wealthy. Non-intimidating ways for stock market newcomers to invest for the first time with true confidence. It's simple and intuitive, clear design with data presented in an easy-to-digest way. Listen, for a long time, I've just been sitting on my money in my checking account and savings account like most of you. I'm intimidated by the idea of playing the stock market and trying to get into bitcoins and all of stocks and bonds, and I just don't understand it. I've talked to a few of my friends, and it's like it immediately goes over my head, Tim. So I wanted something that would make my life a little bit easier. Did a little research, and Robinhood seems to fit everything I need in giving me that first initial step. Plus, did I mention, Tim, it's commission free?
Yeah.
All commission free. I've enjoyed it. My experience has been so seamless, so easy to deal with. I know you're going to absolutely love this too. The most useful thing to me is just how easy it is to understand what you're doing. They've got everything that you need. You can learn how to invest as you build your portfolio. You can discover new stocks and track favorite companies with these personalized news feeds. And then there's custom notifications for price movements, so you never miss the right time to sell or buy. All right, check this out too. Here, if you're still on the fence, not sure how you want to deal with this. First of all, the cost. There's no commission fees. Other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade. But Robinhood doesn't charge commission fees, trade stocks, and you keep all of the profits. That's the best part. And it's easy to understand charts and market data. Place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. Robinhood web platform also lets you view stock collections, like the 100 most popular, sectors like entertainment and social media, and curated categories like female CEOs, and analyst ratings of buy, hold, sell for every stock. Robinhood is giving listeners of Beyond the Darkness a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. You can sign up at darkness.robinhood.com. That's DARKNESS.Robinhood, all one word, ROBINHOOD.com. Darkness.Robinhood.com. Hello, Dave and Tim. My name is Ben. I live in Tucson, Arizona. This happened back in 1991. I was a young man back then and was walking from my girlfriend's house at 3 a.m. Back then, you could walk whatever hour without being harmed or shot. Neighborhoods were somewhat safe back then. Now it's a different story, of course. So I was walking next to a fire station that is still there, and there are many vacant lots around the fire station. I was almost to my home, and about 30 feet from me, a ghostly figure appeared on my left and ran to my right. It also looked at me in mid-run, turning its head to look at me. Once it reached to the last of the pavement to my right, it just simply disappeared. I don't want to go the long way around to reach my house, so I hurriedly pass it where the apparition had been and ran the rest of the way home, which was about a half mile. Once I got inside the house, I saw my dad sleeping on the couch, and he asked what had happened to me. I admit I looked like Bugs Bunny with my back against the door and breathing hard and fast. I told my dad what happened, and he scolded me. What the hell was I doing that late at night walking around the neighborhood? Anyway, I remember when we had moved into that house a decade earlier, I would hear someone jogging late at night, just about every night. I had the corner room next to the street, so I wonder, maybe the jogger had passed away and didn't realize it, or his demise continues to jog to this day. Thanks for reading my story. Keep up the great work. A loyal listener, Ben from Tucson, Arizona, Tim.
Cool.
Yeah. Ghostly jogging. Maybe I'll get in all my steps in Fitbit after my death, Tim.
Does Fitbit measure ghostly jogging, or is that
You can swing your ghostly arm. I could have been I might be up to 5 million steps if I would have been swinging my arm through this whole show, Tim.
See? You'd have made your 10,000 steps.
Yeah, it's a ghost step. Those are my ghost steps, Tim. I don't even have to get up. I just swing my arm ghost stepping. Hey, Dave and Tim. I have a question about impressions of ghosts. I lived in a haunted house growing up. We moved in when I was 3, and I spent my whole childhood there until I was 18. As far back as I can remember, there were paranormal weird things going on. My earliest memory that something was a little off was my dad waking me up in the basement one morning. Now, I was really scared of the basement. Something just felt weird down there, like you were being watched. So it was odd that I went to bed in my room on the main floor, and when my dad woke me up the next morning, he couldn't find me. He looked everywhere and checked the basement last, since he thought that would be the last place I would be, since I was so scared to go down there. But lo and behold, he went down into the basement and saw me sleeping on the couch. He woke me up, and I had no idea how I got there. We could only assume that I sleptwalked down there in the middle of the night. I wasn't known to sleepwalk and never did it after that, but it was the only thing that made sense at the time. Other things would happen in the house too. The TV and radio in the kitchen would turn on by themselves in the middle of the night. Not only did they turn on, but they would also be at the highest volume they could be. Once the timer on the oven went off in the middle of the night, and this was a buzzer-type timer that you had to push in and turn just to set. Plants would go flying around the room. We would also had a pair of candlesticks that crossed themselves on top of each other in the middle of the night for us to find in the morning. So now on to my question about ghost impressions. Whenever I was in the basement doing laundry or what have you, I said I always felt like I was being watched. I never actually saw anything, but I would get this impression that the person or thing watching me was an older male in overalls. Weird, I know. But is there such a thing as having a feeling or impression as to what a ghost looks like without actually seeing it? Is there any leftover energy that can lead us to find or feel a ghost to the point of seeing them only in our mind? I've done as much research on the house as I can, but I've found nothing worth noting to lead me to any conclusions as to whose spirit is there. I now live in a different town, but I have also wanted to stop by and ask the current owners if they have had any weird experiences happen to them while they've lived there. I've noticed that the house comes on the market every couple of years, so I'm guessing that things are still going bump in the night. Sorry this is so long, but thank you for sharing this. I love you guys, and I love your show, and always have me laughing like an idiot at work. Your senses of humor and the banter between you two is awesome. Thanks. And that comes from Heidi. Heidi, 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 hi.
Heidi, 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 ho.
All right. Did you just call Heidi a hoe?
No, I didn't.
Heidi, I have to apologize.
I don't even really know Heidi.
Hey, Mel, just send it right to Tim at 314.
No.
Well, Tim, how else are they going to send you the angry mail if they can't get your address at 314?
Email. There's email. She
Well,
can
there
email
is
me.
email, but Tim, it gets bogged down this time of year, and there's all these problems. And if
Email
if
gets
the
bogged down
sunspots
this
come
time?
out and knock down the power grids, Tim, it's better.
It's not like Santa delivers the crap on his back. I mean, it's email. You just
He does,
send it.
Tim. Santa carries it on his back in a pack, like the post office would do if they just sent you a letter at 314.
No, Dave.
What?
It's an electronic server. It sends automatically. It's just
You know what? You're right. Electronic's probably the best way to go. Just text Tim your hate
no.
angry at 612.
Dave.
What?
I get charged for that stuff. Email.
What,
Email.
you live
Tim,
in 1812?
yes, I do.
Like texter. How much are you paying per text, Tim?
$3.50 a text. So if you just if you
okay, so just
email
write
me.
one angry text.
No.
Because charge of $3.50.
No. It's really spendy and
612.
No.
What?
It's really spendy and
Maybe next time, Tim, you'll think before you call our listener a hoe.
I didn't call her a hoe. I was singing along with you. It's an old.
No, I believe I clearly said Heidi, hi.
And
I was wishing her hi.
And
then you
answered
came back and said Heidi ho.
Right, it's an old Cab Calloway song, Dave. It's
a what?
It's an old Cab Calloway song.
Whatever, Tim. If you don't know, don't be making up names.
No, I'm not
fake names.
making up.
Cab Calloway.
No, it's.
Yes, folks, I know there's a real Cab Calloway. It's part of our bit. We're just joking around. Don't send me emails. Send them right to Tim at 314.
No.
What?
Email is on an email server, Dave. It's not actual mail.
Dave, I don't know why you're always trying to give Tim's real address over there. First of all, it's called doxing, and that's just wrong. Second of all, Tim is a very good man and doesn't deserve for people to know where he lives or his phone number. But if you'd like to give it to me in private, I'd be happy to send this message as well. Anyway, stop it. It's not funny. It's rude, and everybody else is getting bored by you constantly trying to give out his address and phone number. Sincerely, your number one fan, Evelyn.
Really? Evelyn wants my address?
Thank you, Evelyn. I stand corrected. Or sit in this state, not walking. My Fitbit will prove that. All right, let's get back to it, shall we?
All right.
Answering your questions, yes, impressions. A lot of people pick up on impressions. That though they don't see the ghost, it's like they get kind of a projection of what the ghost would look like. So yeah, I don't think you're far off from that. That very well could be. I will tell you this about that. TVs and radios turning on. Actually, that was a problem in the 80s and 90s because people had remote controls. And I don't know how close you were to another house or how your setup was in correlation with theirs. But sometimes, and I used to do this by accident, and then I started doing it on purpose. My neighbor had the same TV I had and same cable remote. And I realized that as I was watching TV, if I was holding the remote in my hand and pushing buttons and I wasn't aiming it at my TV, sometimes I was inadvertently turning their TV on or turning on different channels while they were in the middle of a show. And the reason the volume would go all the way up is because I would be trying to turn on my TV or I'd be trying to turn up my volume. And I was hitting the up, and it wasn't working, but it was turning up your volume. So if your stereo or your TV were on the same RF frequency as mine, that might have been what was it. But I that doesn't explain the crossed candlesticks and all the other creepy stuff. So I don't doubt it. Now, there's another place to check, diedinhouse.com. Diedinhouse.com. You can spend, I think it's like $12.95. It'll give you a report on if anybody died in your home. And that might give you some insights, or at least give you prior owner's name. See if you could do a little research and see if maybe they didn't die in the home, but if they live there and you find a picture of the person, you may be able to say, oh, they're just visiting. It's just a visit. That's all. So that would be my advice. Tim, do you have any advice to offer?
Could be a demon. Just saying.
Could be. Good. Could be why Tim called you a hoe. Heidi, I'm sorry about that.
No, I did not call her a hoe.
Hello, Dave. Stop there. I spoke briefly in your live stream about the demon attachment I've had following me since I was a youngster. It all started as a baby, just learning to speak. According to my mom, I'd be blathering away, saying play. Nothing out of the abnormal, really, in my opinion. But as the years went on, it continued to a full-blown conversation and unusual behaviors. At about 6 years old, give or take, I was lying on my grandmother's bed, and from what I was being told, speaking in another language. Cursing, swearing at my mother, and my hand would occasionally twitch. Keep in mind, I had no knowledge of said events. My mom, being a skeptic, let me be, and it apparently passed. After I passed out for about 24 hours. though out of my life, through my life, I suffered through great depression, drug use, self-harm, etc. And it always felt like it was out of my control. Finally, around the age of 15, I decided I needed to know what was going on. So I spoke with numerous psychics and mediums and a variety of people involved in the paranormal world. I gave them no information other than what I've told you here. Some of them even less than that, to all of which gave me one name: Belial. I did my research on him, and needless to say, it terrified me. Whenever I speak his name out loud, it always seems to make activity worse. I learned the St. Michael's Prayer, and since then, it has been relatively calm. If it sparks up, I recite it out loud, and it seems to dissipate. However, in the last year, I've gained a significant other, and lately all the activity seems to be directed at him. Things moved on him, thrown in his direction, or simply when I'm not home. Do you have any suggestions of anything physically to rid this attachment? Thank you for your time. Well, yeah, first of all, stop saying his name. Stop typing his name. Stop thinking his name. You typed it to me. You told me anytime you think about it, things start to happen, or anytime you mention him, stop mentioning him. And then the problem is, too, that you went to the medium and you gave them some information. All you have to do is say, when I was a kid, I used to have these weird things happen, and I would speak in tongues, and immediately you're front-loading the person that you're talking to. Your best bet when approaching psychics and mediums is just to go to them and give them no information and let them tell you if you have a negative thing attached to you. They should be able to tell. They're psychics. And if they can't and they don't tell you, then that's the case. I just think, in your case, it could be a couple of different things. It could be, and I know you won't like to hear this, but it could be neurological. It could be psychological problems, and nothing of your natural doing. Could just be chemically imbalanced and forms of depression or schizophrenia. And again, those aren't negative or bad words. It's just something to research and check out for yourself. Things being thrown at your boyfriend when you're not there. I don't know, again, how to explain that. Is that kind of PK activity, poltergeist activity, as we like to say, this kind of anarchy energy that's left behind in the wake of somebody that has special issues like this? You may also want to be checked through a neurologist to check for any low-level forms of epilepsy, because a lot of what you're describing sounds like epileptic seizures and fits. Dr. Barry Taff has talked to us on the show repeatedly that a lot of these people that are quote-unquote poltergeist agents are in fact dealing with forms of epilepsy. So that is just something to consider. You might be able to find a way to medicate and keep that down. Thank you very much for writing in, and thank you to everybody for writing in. Remember, you can call in as well, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. And I'll tell you what, Tim, this is what we're going to do.
All right.
Every week, I'm going to listen to these stories. And then once or twice a month, I'm just going to pick one of my favorite random stories, and I'll mention it on air. And then you can email me, and I'll send you a copy of my book autographed. And if you already have my autographed book, I'll send you another book that I didn't write, but I'll autograph it anyway. How about that? We'll just do that at random from time to time. So 651-300-4977. Call and leave us your paranormal encounters, and you may be one of the lucky one or two a month that wins a signed copy of my book. So check it out for yourself and give us a call. Share your story. You have up to 3 minutes to leave a heartwarming, chilling, fun, fascinating, creepy, weird paranormal encounter of your own. And again, if it goes longer than 3 minutes, just call back and pick up where you left off, and Tim will put those two pieces together to air on a future episode. You can also send those in to me at dave@darknessradio.com, or just drop them in a letter and mail it to Tim Dennis at 314.
No, that's probably a bad idea. Yeah.
Well, just send them to me in an email form at dave@darknessradio.com, because Tim Dennis at 314. He doesn't want to give out that address.
No, we don't really. Yeah.
Tomorrow we have a special little Thanksgiving gift to you, all of you out there, because of your love and support. We want to thank all of you for being with us, and many of you have requested over the years an easier way to access our Theater of the Mind spots on the episode. So we're going to put together an entire episode tomorrow of some of the most requested and some of our favorite Theater of the Mind, so you can have them with you, listen, and share them with your friends, relatives, neighbors, and get the show out there. Tell everybody about the best in paranormal talk radio, Beyond the Darkness, every Saturday and Sunday, heard right here on Podcast One. And then join me Monday through Friday on midnightinthedesert.com for even more strange and supernatural talk. And don't forget, subscribe right now and continue to maintain your membership until January 1st for True Crime Tuesday, to be put in to a drawing to win $500 of Tim's hard-earned cash. That's right. We will be drawing names after the 1st of January for everybody that's had and has a membership to True Crime Tuesday and has maintained that membership. And I understand sometimes your credit card changes. You have to put in a new credit card, or you have to change the expiration date. So even if you had a lapse by a week or two until you put that in, as long as we can tell in the records that you've continued this membership, you are automatically entered into that drawing for $500 of Tim's hard-earned money. So go subscribe right now. We've put in a brand new website at darknessradio.com. It's never been easier to access all of our different projects, shows, and live events. You can go check it all out at darknessradio.com and find ways to subscribe to all of the programming there. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow with a very special holiday edition of Beyond the Darkness. For Tim Dennis, I'm Dave Schrader, and this is Beyond the Darkness.